Hello there, and thank you for deciding to start your week with the top bulletin in town. Top on our agenda.
Launching the BBI.
The BBI task force's plans to retake control of the debate, and Jubilee leaders' strategies to bridge the divide.
We will make sure that every leader from different political parties will not only speak, but they will have also a right to speak their mind without being forced to sing a particular recital before you can say your point.
And also tonight, after 7 days in custody, Embakasi East MP Babu Owino is now free to go, but after posting a quarter of his 10 million shilling bail.
Plus, from a food market in China to a global panic. Now the Ministry of Foreign Affairs puts on hold non-essential travel to China over the deadly coronavirus.
And also tonight, Central Bank is pushing for lower interest rates as the economy operates below potential.
Live from Nation Center, this is NTV Tonight with Smriti, Vidyarthi and Masai.
Thanks very much for joining us. David Agondoa is our sign language interpreter tonight. And we begin with reports of a fresh attack in Kapedo, in which one police officer has been killed and 15 others injured.
The officers were providing security to a team of construction workers restoring a broken down section of the Kapedo-Lomelo road. On their way back to Kapedo, the vehicle was ambushed by armed attackers who opened fire on them, killing the driver on the spot.
Lomelo Chief Josephat Lopalao told NTV that the injured, who include police officers, are being treated at the Kapedo dispensary. We're keeping an eye on the developments there, and we will bring you more details as soon as we get them.
Another development of the day: over 150 members of parliament allied to Deputy President William Ruto have resolved to start organizing and hosting their own Building Bridges Initiative consultative meetings.
The legislators who met in Naivasha also agreed to mobilize resources for printing of proposals to the BBI for public consumption. Seth Olale reports on the outcome of that Naivasha retreat.
In what was seen as an attempt to display unity and might within the Deputy President's camp, over 100 members of parliament converged in Naivasha to counter Raila Odinga's led Building Bridges Initiative consultative public forums. The group, which arrived Sunday evening, held a closed-door meeting late night and Monday morning before announcing its resolutions.
The discussions have mainly been on personalities and positions of the political class. This is stark contrast to the original objectives of the course.
It is for this reason that the MPs allied to the Deputy President have announced organizing and hosting their own Building Bridges Initiative consultative meetings, with the first one slated next week Saturday in Nakuru County.
For us, for every rally we will organize, we will make sure that every shade of opinion and every leader from different political parties and every place will not only speak, but they will have also a right to speak their mind without being forced to sing a particular recital before you can say your point. So everybody...
President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto, and ODM leader Raila Odinga are among guests invited to attend the Nakuru Public Forum.
We are a very big group. We split. The same thing. We want to tell Kenyans the same thing. So if you go east and I go west and we are preaching the same gospel, it reaches Christ quickly.
The group, which is also seeking a closed-door audience with the BBI task force, has pledged to individually fund the scheduled meetings as well as print out written proposals to be distributed to the public.
We want the people to come and speak to us what is ailing them down there in the village. So we will be listening to Mama Mboga, we will be listening to border riders, we will be listening to everyone and see how we can have a document that is going to be people-based.
The legislators also want farmers and university graduates allocated 5% of the national revenue, with the judiciary getting 3.5%.
Kuna matatizo kubwa ya wawajiri, watoto wetu, vijana wetu.
hawana nafasi za kazi.
Launching the BBI.
The group, which wants the BBI task force release its own public forum schedule, stated that it will frequently hold such gatherings to plan for upcoming BBI forums, even as Jubilee Party's Secretary General Raphael Tuju, through a statement, clarified that the Naivasha retreat was not a parliamentary group meeting. The next Building Bridges Initiative consultative meeting heads to Kitui County this weekend before being hosted next week in Nakuru County as scheduled by organizers. Seth Olale, NTV, Naivasha.
On a day the Building Bridges Initiative Task Force was holding its first meeting since gazettement, the US Ambassador to Kenya, Carl McCarter, is cautioning against the hijacking of the BBI debate by politicians.
The task force is to strategize on how views will be collected countrywide, discounting assertions by a section of MPs allied to the opposition leader Raila Odinga that their program is sanctioned by the team. And Kennedy Mureithi, who is just from the coast where there was a major rally actually in the name of the BBI sensitization, has just come back. And yes, they criticize, or the critique of this particular issue is that it has been hijacked by the political agenda. He now reports.
As the Building Bridges Initiative Steering Committee settles down after having its first meeting since its gazettement, it is faced with the task of providing directions to Kenyans on the way forward with implementation of the document it presented in November last year. The committee chose to stick to the previous chairperson, Yusuf Haji, for the sake of continuity.
We are now in the process of working on our program, which we shall release to Kenyans so that they can participate fully in whatever the steering committee is supposed to be doing.
It is expected that the team will again meet Tuesday to give a comprehensive report on how BBI-2, as it has been christened by politicians, will take off, or how the BBI report they released will be implemented. It is understood the team will also release a timetable for the second round of collecting views.
No one can stop reggae.
Opposition leader Raila Odinga and a host of politicians allied to his cause have been traversing the country for meetings funded by the state, clustering them into regions where locals have been giving a set of recommendations to be incorporated in the BBI-2 document.
The culmination of us going around and making sure that the views are heard, for us as politicians, we are only coming towards the tail end. And I believe even the politicians will be given an opportunity to even air their views.
Nobody will be going to be attending Tanga meetings that the aim is just 2022 elections. And the president told us very clearly he does not want politics now.
The BBI Steering Committee is confirming it has not yet drawn a program, and politicians appear to have largely taken over its role.
I don't think BBI should be hijacked by politics or politicians. But I think you have the commitment from the governor that this is going to be a conversation that the people understand what is in it, and the people can decide if that's what's best for the future of Kenya.
These sentiments also come at a time opposition to a proposal by governors to have a third tier of government intensify.
We insist, and we have said that the BBI report as launched in Bomas is a report we know, and I didn't see a third tier government in that report.
If you can deal with the corruption, there is no harm in creating regional governance, regional governments. But there's no guarantee that if you are a governor serving in second term, and if that position is created, you will get it.
There are those of the view that the move is being pushed by second-time governors and the entire Council of Governors as a precondition for supporting the BBI. Kennedy Mureithi, NTV.
And the leader of opposition, Raila Odinga, has spoken to the question on whether there are ulterior motives to this BBI when he spoke to NTV exclusively last night. Well, among other things that he spoke about was his wealth.
That's right. And, well, in an exclusive interview, as Mark said, with NTV, he says that he differs with the DP on the values that he holds dear, including his honesty.
This is after Deputy President William Ruto claimed that he was in the know about the handshake before it even materialized.
NTV's Brenda Wanga unpacks that revealing interview.
No, they're saying that Raila Odinga is so rich, very, very rich, which is not true. Okay?
How rich are you?
I think about 2 billion shillings.
2 million? 2 billion?
Yes.
His net worth wasn't the only thing that opposition leader Raila Odinga opened up about during his exclusive interview with NTV. He was also candid about the reasons behind the differences between him and Deputy President William Ruto.
The issues are that there are certain things that is done or it does that are basically contrary to what I think would be the correct ways of doing things.
Raila singling out the Deputy President's church philanthropy.
And he's running around every weekend donating money whose sources are dubious. In my view, this is corrupting the political process. What is the source of the money that he's donating?
But that wasn't the only bone Raila had to pick with Ruto. Last week, in another exclusive interview with NTV, Deputy President William Ruto claims to have known about and participated in the early stages of the handshake between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga.
Even before the Honorable Raila reached out to Uhuru Kenyatta, he reached out to me.
But Raila now says the opposite is true.
That is very unethical. Because, I mean, why would I even call Ruto? I never called Uhuru. Why would I call Ruto? I never did. So that I can swear, I never talked to William Ruto.
The resultant Building Bridges initiative that was birthed after the handshake has further widened the rift between the DP and Raila, with Raila facing accusations of carving out a position for himself in the executive through this initiative. He denies these allegations.
You don't have to be the president of Kenya. What we need is to fix what you call the Kenyan problem so that we can have a united country.
BBI matters aside, the opposition leader says he is supportive of the calls for reforms in the judiciary.
I've told them, but they also require reforms to be able to deal with these cases speedily and also to ensure that there are some convictions. Because right now there are so many of these cases pending before the judiciary. There are no convictions.
Raila also defended himself against allegations that he has wormed his way into government, maintaining that he is working with the president for the benefit of all Kenyans, for now and for the future.
Sad to say I'm on my way.
Brenda Wanga, NTV.
Elsewhere, Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino will walk out of custody after paying 2.5 million shillings as part of a 10 million shilling bail granted to the first-time legislator by the court after spending 7 days in remand.
Babu, who is accused of shooting Felix Orinda, popularly known as DJ Evolve, has also been barred from indulging in narcotics or alcohol. At the same time, Samburu Governor Moses Lenol Kulal will know his fate on Thursday in a case where the Director of Public Prosecutions is seeking to have his bail cancelled.
NTV's Ken Mijungu has those details.
The 2.5 million shillings will go towards the treatment of the disc jockey who is out of danger but still undergoing treatment. It is also part of a 10 million shilling bail that the court imposed as a condition to release Babu Owino. The rest will stand in as cash bail and will be paid in installments for the next 4 months. Babu Owino shot the disc jockey about a week ago at B Club in Kilimani area. He was arraigned and detained for 7 days to allow the court hear the victim's side of the story. The DJ's family fear the legislator may use his freedom and influence to undermine investigations and eventually the trial. At the same time, the Director of Public Prosecution will know on Thursday if he successfully convinced the court to detain Samburu Governor Moses Leonard Kulal. The DPP had gone to court in December where he told the court that the governor violated his bail terms issued on 2nd of April last year by the Anti-Corruption Court. Governor Leonard Kulal is said to have violated the terms of his release by making executive appointments as issued by the Anti-Corruption Court. The governor was barred from performing some functions of his office until he is cleared. In the landmark ruling made by Justice Mumbi Ngugi, who held that governors with graft cases should not be allowed to access their office unless they get written permission from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. Leonard Kulal was charged with 4 counts of abuse of office and conflict of interest leading to the possible loss of 84.6 million shillings of public funds and was later released on a 10 million shilling cash bail from the initial 100 million shillings which he successfully challenged. Ken Mijungu, NTV.
Some major health concerns in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has put on hold non-essential travel from Kenya to China to stop the potential spread of the new strain of the coronavirus that has so far claimed 80 lives in China.
The Chinese government also suspended the opening of universities and schools in Hubei province as one measure to keep Kenyan students in the plagued town of Wuhan safe. Eunice Omolo reports.
It's a race against time as the world wrings its hands over the emergence of the new pandemic threat from Wuhan, China, that has spread a global epidemic of fear.
We don't know the source of this virus. We don't understand how easily it spreads. And we don't fully understand its clinical features or severity. WHO is working with our partners night and day in China and the other affected countries at the regional level and here at the headquarters to fill the gaps in our knowledge as quickly as possible.
Even as World Health Organization is yet to declare the acute viral respiratory disease as a global concern, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has put on hold non-essential flights to Wuhan until the situation there is contained. Those taking essential trips there must comply with additional screening measures that have been put in place by the authorities. In a statement, the Minister of Foreign Affairs also said that the Kenyan embassy in China was aware that there are 85 Kenyans in Wuhan, the epicenter of the deadly coronavirus, and who have been registered with the embassy. The ministry asked all unregistered Kenyans in Wuhan to do so. The statement further says the Embassy of China in Nairobi was constantly communicating with its capital and the Kenyan students in Wuhan under the Chinese government scholarship program on their status in order to improve protection. Further, authorities in Hubei province have announced the postponement of the opening of universities and colleges and suspended the exams calendar indefinitely in an effort to curb the movement and the spread of the virus. Kenyan students studying in Hubei have been advised to stay away from Wuhan city until further advised. All Kenyans in Wuhan and in China have been urged to contact the Kenyan embassy in Beijing for advice and consular assistance. Those who may exhibit symptoms of the virus have been advised to report to the nearest hospital without delay. Data from the Chinese National Health Commission indicates that so far 2,744 cases and 80 deaths have been reported in China and nearly 5,800 suspected cases recorded. The health agency in China puts the number of severe cases at 461. The World Health Organization has put the alert levels for the coronavirus in China as very high. Eunice Omolo, NTV.
Now, 970,000 students have been admitted to Form 1 to date in various secondary schools across the country.
This number represents a 92% enrollment as the government moves closer to achieving 100% transition from primary to secondary school.
NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga brings us what lies ahead in the last week of Form 1 admissions.
Ramquis Shirabuka, Fidel Eboya and Sami Mutola sat KCPE examinations last year. They are from Kibra and had lost hope of ever joining secondary school for lack of school fees. 2 weeks since their classmates started reporting to school, they were still at home. But today, their prayers were answered. Contrary to their expectations, they will be spending their first night in school. They were all admitted at Langata Boys High School.
I'm happy to join a very well-maintained school with a clean environment, and I will do my best.
Najihisi vizuri sana. Hata hiyo ugonjwa ni kama imepoa kidogo, sioni kama niko nayo sana.
We have admitted 970,151, representing about 92% of all children. And I cannot hide my gratitude because between Friday and now, we have added another 150,000. The private schools in this country have admitted 69,783, and they are ready to admit more.
All parents with children invited to join boarding schools and are yet to do so because of school fees have been directed by the Ministry of Education to report to nearby day public secondary schools for their children to be admitted.
That child must not and shall not be returned home because of things like lunch money.
Nimekuwa nikikuja siku 3, nikirudi nikipata security, wananiambia niende ninunulie mtoto wangu uniform, ninarudi, lakini sikufa moyo.
Other students were admitted at Mbagathi and Moi Girls High School in Kibra. 10 counties have attained and surpassed the 100% registration of students, and they are Murang'a, Nyeri, Turkana, Nairobi, Vihiga, Tharaka Nithi, Kirinyaga, Kajiado, Uasin Gishu, and Lamu.
The border areas like Marsabit, they have been reliably informed that a large number of students crossed to the other part of the border, which means they came to do the exam, and once they got the results, they went back to the other side.
Meanwhile, leaders from Machakos and Nyeri counties want the government to ensure infrastructure in public secondary schools is up to standard to facilitate the 100% transition, employ enough teachers and ensure availability of textbooks for the 100% transition to make sense. Admission of Form 1 students is expected to end in 2 days. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
And much as this is being celebrated in certain quarters, that is the enrollment reaching 92% supposedly, as much as there's quantity, there also needs to be quality of education, something that many have been calling for.
Yeah, most definitely.
And now to health, and the unrelenting rains brought more than just moisture in Baringo. The flooding provided a perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes.
And now over 1,000 people in Baringo South have tested positive for malaria, even as hospitals struggle to cater for the rising number of patients in need of treatment. NTV's Margaret Wanjiru has the details.
Patients, both young and old, sit and patiently wait to have their pain attended to. Many of them exhibit malaria-like symptoms of shivering, fever and vomiting. Lina Maitano is here too, nursing her ailing child who was admitted on Sunday. The health centers in Baringo have seen an upsurge of patients seeking treatment for a fresh flare-up of malaria that threatens their lives.
Unajua sisi tuko sub ya longe one. Sasa huko tuko na hospitali lakini hakuna madaktari. Sasa tunafuga hii dispensary ya Ngaro. Sasa unakuta watu ni wagonjwa huko sana. Unakuta tu familia mzima kutoka baba mpaka watoto ni wagonjwa. Nakimbia hii dispensary hakuna madawa. Inabidi tukuje Marigat. Sasa watoto wakalaswa.
According to the Chief Officer of Health, Dr. Winnie Bore, 1,000 out of 3,000 people tested positive for malaria.
The hardest areas are the larger Baringo South, like Kiserian right now, and this Marigat where we are right now. And we attribute mainly to the rains, the long rains that we had. There's a lot of malaria breeding areas right now because of stagnant waters. And we're actually addressing that right now.
Last year, 10 people died of malaria in Tiati due to lack of drugs at nearby health facilities. Residents now fear that they could be facing the same fate as the capacity of the health centers is tested with every new patient that arrives.
Tunataka county watupatie ile gari yao mobile clinic itembelee wananchi kwa ground, apatie dawa watibiwe.
Leaders called for help from the national government to distribute drugs and destroy the mosquito breeding sites. Margaret Wanjiru, NTV.
Well, it's just gone past 20 past the hour. We do have plenty more for you coming up on NTV tonight, but first, a quick commercial break.
Welcome home to Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Your own urban sanctuary. A lifestyle waiting for you just 20 kilometers from the CBD. A place to unwind and get your health and fitness goals attained. A secure place for your family. A place for your children to have fun. A place to enjoy a sundowner. Success just doesn't happen. You have to make it happen. Make the impossible possible. Invest in Amani Ridge, the place of peace. Luxury you can afford. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Who wants to answer? Mary?
Mary has a toothache.
Oh, I see. And who knows why?
Because her tooth is too big.
No, it might be a hole in her tooth called a cavity. That's why I brush twice a day using Colgate.
Imagine this is your tooth and these are food acids that cause cavities. Colgate with calcium and fluoride helps prevent cavities
For maximum cavity protection.
and now available in a 12-gram sachet for fresh breath. Only 15 shillings.
It feel good, Coca-Cola and food, Monday to Sunday. We're all chasing taste. Let's just grab a bite, the excuse to drink Coca-Cola every single day. So we feel forever be real, together stay free, whatever else. No, we can't stop, we wanna taste the feeling. Nothing can ever bring us down.
Taste the feeling.
Are you a KCSE graduate? Congratulations! Achieve your career dream by enrolling for a rewarding course with KASNEB. KASNEB is a professional examination body with a mandate to offer globally recognized professional, diploma, and certificate qualifications through various accredited institutions. Enroll now for professional qualification whose entry grade is C+, diploma in credit management, or accounting technician diploma course whose entry requirement is a C- in KCSE, or for certificate in accounting and management skills comes with a minimum grade of D plain. For more details, call 020-4923-000 or visit our website on www.kasneb.or.ke. KASNEB, be empowered.
At Gretna University, the customer experience is simply amazing. The number of students taking each course is manageable, hence enabling the lecturers to have a one-on-one engagement with each student.
I have gained leadership skills, helping me to become a student leader.
This is one of the best institutions to nurture your skills and talent.
Intake is in progress.
Mimi siku hizi nimekuwa mtu very honest kabisa. Honest indeed, si ndio? Ndio maana ulikuwa unanyemelea hapo ukitoka siku zako zimeisha. Sasa wewe na vile tulikuwa na amani na upendo ile wakati ulikuwa umeenda, umekuja kutufuruga.
We decided to invite Sasha to hang out with us.
Kazi yote ya mtoto ni yako. Ulishe mtoto, uoshe mtoto, umlalishe na ufue nguo zake zote. Anti-bus.
NTV Tonight continues with news from the court. And Sarah Wairimu Cohen, who is charged with the murder of her husband, Top Cohen, was today allowed access to her home in Kitusuru, where she started collecting her personal effects from the home she shared with her late spouse.
A court had ordered that she be accompanied by 2 female officers in every room that she entered. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations detectives also took an inventory of each item that she picked up from the house that is still cordoned off as an active crime scene.
Sarah's access to the property was allowed by the High Court on January 16th. She was only allowed to pick her clothes, handbags, shoes and other personal effects.
Elsewhere at the Gishugu Law Courts in Kirinyaga County, proceedings were temporarily interrupted following protests by the lawyer of a woman who had been held in the same cell as male suspects.
Resident Magistrate Keth Odhiambo had to adjourn the proceedings after the lawyer complained that the woman and her child had been remanded in the same cell as male suspects. Now, some of the suspects in remand joined in the protest, banging on the doors of the cell adjacent to the courtroom, and still in the same courtroom, a suspect arrested for being in possession of counterfeit maize flour was released on a cash bail of 20,000 shillings.
Now, health professionals are calling on the government to decriminalize suicide and instead treat it as a mental health condition. These are some of the proposals that a task force established by the Ministry of Health to look into Kenya's mental health state. The task force wound up its public sittings and will be compiling a report on their findings by the 28th of February. NTV's Gladys Gashanja sat through the final day of submissions and sheds light on what else came up.
On the 13th of January, this ragged-looking man made quite a star on Nairobi's Kimathi Street. He had tried to hang himself on one of the streetlight poles, but failed. Members of the public beat him up, and police later apprehended him to face criminal charges. The criminalization of suicide is one of the most poignant issues that came up on the last public sittings of a task force set up by President Uhuru Kenyatta in November of 2019 to establish the status of the country's mental health. According to Section 226 of the Penal Code, attempted suicide is defined as a misdemeanor punishable by a jail term of up to 2 years or a fine or both, according to Section 36 of the Penal Code.
I think we prefer that suicide is not treated as a crime, so that we don't say people have committed suicide. We say they have died by suicide.
The annual Kenya National Bureau of Statistics Economic Survey lists suicide as a homicide, where 177 suicide incidents were reported to the police in 2018. Out of those, 147 men were reported to have committed suicide compared to 30 women.
Have programs or sensitization initiatives that will help men to be able to learn or understand a little bit more about their mental health.
Gambling and addiction of the same continues to make impact in different societies in this country, and this came to the fore in as far as its impact on mental health.
One incident that really interested me and my team was a man who gambled his dowry, all of it. Now they had to break up with the fiancé before everything.
Politics and politicians were also on the spotlight here.
The highest preference of suicide in Kenya in the year 2007, 2013 and 2017. There is a lot of toxicity that is in our environment because of things that politicians say with complete disregard of how that affects us as Kenyans.
The task force has been to 10 counties collecting views on the reasons for the increase in cases of mental illness among Kenyans. The report is expected on the 28th of February, and the findings would help the government appropriate resources towards addressing the country's mental health challenges. Gladys Gashanja, NTV.
On matters security now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has told Northeastern Region administrators to hold monthly public barazas. so as to engage locals in the fight against terror. His call for engagement comes after an increase in terror activities in the area. Matiang'i says the public meetings will help foster very close working relationships with the locals and enhance sharing of crucial information that could help in the fight against terror. Promising to hold meetings with security bosses in the northeastern region every 3 months, the CS has promised everything at the government's disposal to secure the region from Al-Shabaab militants. He was accompanied by the Inspector General of Police, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, governors of Garissa and Mandera, among others. Matiang'i's visit comes after the recent killings of 3 teachers in Kaunti, 4 school children in Sareto Primary, and the destruction of communication installations in the county.
Tutafute njia ya kuwa na uhusiano wa karibu sana na wananchi wa kawaida na wakazi wa pande hii. Sisi viongozi wa usalama tupate nafasi tusungumuze na wananchi, twende kwa wananchi. Hawa wazee tuwakaribie sana kwa sababu wanaelewa mambo ambayo yanatendeka pande hii.
Still in Garissa, residents are worried about another swarm of invaders that has ravaged the town. The new swarm of desert locusts came from southern Somalia despite ongoing efforts to control the invasion.
Now being called the plague. Farmers across parts of the country that the virulent pests have descended upon are worried that their continued presence is a threat to food security.
Residents of Garissa are yet again trying to desperately fend off the intruder, shouting, honking their car horns and throwing objects at the swarm of locusts that descended on them from the southern side of Somalia. The dense cloud of the ravenous insect enveloped homes, streets, and had blacked out the skies in Garissa town. Billions of locusts swarming through parts of the country, including Tana River, could prove disastrous for a region still reeling from drought and deadly floods.
Sahi iko karibu na raya sahi na nafikiri hapo ndio italala na hatuoni msaada yote kutoka serikali.
Ikiwa sisi tuliumia kwa mambo ya mfurugo ya maji na sahi tunaonekana anatumaliza ile majani kidogo alikuwa anakulanga mnyama anamaliza tena hiyo dudu.
The farmers have now started beating on their drums to scare away the locust and keep them away from their crops. The swarms have left a trail of destruction in their wake as they sweep through parts of the country. Halima Gongo, NTV.
I mean, that footage is just incredible, and it doesn't seem like those locusts are going anywhere anytime soon. All right, let's shift focus now. It's time for the business news with Julian Mboko. Julian, it's good to have you with us. Can we expect lower interest rates?
Not just immediately. What the central bank does in its policy decision is to give an indication to commercial banks, but now that we don't have the rate caps, it's really up to them.
In English?
We shall be delving into that and much more in the business desk, just looking at some of the stories which have made headlines today.
Je, maumivu ya kichwa na kukosesha amani? Kaluma Strong hutuliza maumivu ya kichwa, maumivu ya mwili na hata huondoa joto jingi mwilini. Kaluma Strong ina aspirin kama kiungo. Maumivu yakizidi, muone daktari.
Eldoret Technical Training Institute (ETTI) is a student-centered institution offering competency-based training and market-driven courses at higher diploma, and certificate level. Registration for January, May and September 2020 intakes is ongoing in the following programs: Building and Civil Engineering, Business Administration and Commerce, Agriculture and Animal Health, Travel, Tourism and Hospitality Management, Education, Social Studies, Information Communication Technology, Accounting, Banking and Finance, Medical and Health Sciences, Journalism and Mass Communication. Apply now. SMS your details to the numbers on your screen. Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Growing reputation.
Heaviness and a burning inside, it could be heartburn.
Indigestion and heartburn? Eno gets to work in 6 seconds and works on the 6 symptoms of heartburn so you can keep living life non-stop. Eno, fight heartburn and indigestion fast.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Mimi siku hizi nimekuwa mtu very honest kabisa. Honest indeed, si ndio? Ndio maana ulikuwa unanyemelea hapo ukitoka siku zako zimeisha. Sasa wewe na vile tulikuwa na amani na upendo ile wakati ulikuwa umeenda, umekuja kutufuruga.
We decided to invite Sasha to hang out with us.
Kazi yote ya mtoto ni yako. Ulishe mtoto, uoshe mtoto, umlalishe na ufue nguo zake zote.
Antibus.
Let's get down to business. Welcome. I am Julian Amboko. The central bank has yet again signaled commercial banks to lower interest rates following its decision to cut its policy rate by 1/4 percentage point in its first meeting of 2020. The central bank policy rate now stands at 8.25% following Monday's meeting, down from the 8.5% set in the November 2019 meeting. The banking regulator took the decision to cut the policy rate on the back of an economy it argues is operating below its potential, coupled with measures being instituted to cut back on government spending. The committee also lowered the CBR at its previous meeting in November to 8.5% from 9% soon after the repeal of the interest rate caps. Growth in credit to the private sector now stands at its highest point since the adoption of rate caps in August 2016, having registered a 7.1% growth rate in December of 2019. And moving on, the revamped port of Kisumu will be complete in 2 weeks. This is according to the Transport Cabinet Secretary James Masai, who says that the project is 98% complete. Oko Okusa with the details.
Speaking while on an inspection tour of the port, which is undergoing facelift, Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia sought to allay fears that the project had hit a dead end. This comes just a fortnight after the port's official opening was shelved once again in circumstances which remain unclear. The CS disclosed that the postponement was due to pending completion.
We have done the assessment with the County Commissioner, with the DCC, with the Chairman of Kenya Ports Authority, with the MD of Kenya Ports Authority, with Kenya Railways, and we have assessed, we have agreed the port is ready about 80% complete. And we agreed that within the next 2 weeks, the 2% which is outstanding will be completed.
The port's commissioning has been postponed more than twice, triggering concerns among stakeholders and residents who are hoping to benefit from job opportunities created by the upgrade.
We are very, very happy with the progress. Today, if you go there, you find the port is ready, you know, everything is ready, basically. The access roads, you've seen, they've been done. We're just tweaking a few issues here and there to make sure that anything outstanding has been cleared.
The controversy surrounding the project cost also featured during the briefing.
When we get now that extra 2%, we shall have the balance sheet of the project done. We shall make sure it's audited to make sure the figures are okay. Then thereafter we can be able to tell you it was so much.
The port's rehabilitation cost has been a subject of conflict, with the government dismissing earlier reports that it had set aside 3 billion shillings for the project. It later emerged that the project's estimated total cost was to the tune of 800 million shillings, a figure which is still under probe. Ouko Kusa, NTV.
More on ports a little later, but first, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers has welcomed more investments from Japanese companies in order to create more jobs and grow Kenya's exports ahead of the commencement of trading under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. Speaking after meeting a Japanese business delegation which is in the country to explore business opportunities, KM chairperson Sachin Gudka said Kenya should continue improving the ease of doing business in order to attract more foreign investment. In 2018, Kenya imported 99 billion shillings worth of goods from Japan, compared to a paltry 5 billion shillings worth of exports, but the Japanese business delegation says that they now want to use Kenya as its preferred gateway into Africa.
The Japanese companies need an opportunity to visit Africa and to learn about the market through direct, real, and live experience here. We do hope this seminar help active exchange among Kenyan Japanese business people and will serve as a springboard for new businesses based on our bilateral partnership.
When it comes to investments, we would like investment from every country to come in over here. So it's not about, since the Chinese are investing, are the Japanese following behind and so on. That's not the case. This is about Kenya's attractiveness as an investment destination. Are we competitive enough? Can investors use Kenya as a springboard to produce here and export to the rest of Africa competitively and get.
And back to the ports. The Port of Lamu is expected to commence operations by the close of March 2020 following the completion of the first berth. NTV's coast reporter Kevin Mutai gives us a status update on the project, including its adoption by the African Union.
A year after the country registered a 9.2% decline in the number of vessels docking at the port of Mombasa to 1,605 in 2018, the government is set to launch shipping operations at the port of Lamu in a move which could reverse this trend. Construction works for the second and the third berth at the port of Lamu are currently underway. Following completion of the first berth,
the government is fully committed and has put a lot of focus and a lot of energy and a lot of resources in developing Lamu Port to be the largest port in Africa and to compare well with other ports around the globe.
The Locust Corridor project has 7 key infrastructure projects, including inter-regional highways from Lamu to South Sudan, connecting to Addis Ababa. The project, which also focuses on the construction of a crude oil pipeline and a standard gauge railway, has received endorsement from the African Union following the signing of an MOU between the 3 partner countries.
It has received the international certificate or stamp of authority from the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, in that the Locust Corridor program is not just a Kenyan affair alone, but it is indeed a continental affair.
The Port of Lamu is also expected to open investment opportunities with creation of special economic zones and the manufacturing industries.
There will be many investment opportunities and we're looking forward to a lot of growth, rapid growth in our economy.
Locust project is expected to open up new windows for trade as well as expand the already existing markets, a move that is expected to also have a positive impact to the country's economy. Kevin Mutai, NTV in Lamu County.
And that's it from the business desk. I leave you with the financial report. And that's it from the business desk. I now hand you over back to Mark and Smriti.
Thank you, Julian. And yes, after the break, we'll be talking about that osprey bird everyone has been tweeting or asking about. She knows more about it. Stay with us.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more.
Lipa na M-Pesa.
More convenience.
Do more with M-Pesa.
More ease.
Yeah,
more flexibility. And now you can win apartments, tractors with extras, plus surprise gifts to 8 customers every minute. Make payments via M-Pesa Buy Goods or Pay Bill. Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
Do you have what it takes to become the next generation of great innovators, business magnates, corporate icons, engineers, and renowned researchers? Be part of over 40,000 students pursuing and nurturing their career at Moi University. Enroll now for January, May, and September 2020 intakes for postgraduate, degree, and diploma programs in the following schools: School of Business and Economics, School of Arts and Social Sciences, School of Information Sciences, School of Education, School of Agriculture and Natural Resources, School of Biological and Physical Sciences, School of Tourism, Hospitality and Events Management, School of Aerospace Science, School of Public Health, School of Medicine, School of Engineering, School of Law, School of Nursing, School of Dentistry. Enroll now. Moi University, the foundation of knowledge.
Betika community is a movement. We started this initiative to support grassroots talent because we want to change and transform lives.
Ball imechange maisha yangu. Ball imefanya nimerudi shule, nimemaliza shule. Hope sana ball itanisaidia.
At Betika we saw the amazing talent that our youth have in football around Kenya, and we said, what are the challenges that these teams and these young people are facing? And the most immediate need for them was football kits.
Tumepata uniform safi, tutakuwa tunatumia kwa tournament, so tuko ready kupiga shughuli.
Every winning team will take home a cash prize of 200,000. They get to nominate a community project in their area. Our dream is to see our boys playing in those grand soccer stadiums across the world, and we'll be very proud when we see some of our Betika community players in such tournaments.
What do you see on the horizon? They say how you start your decade will determine how the rest of it will be. Imagine a decade full of opportunities, investment being one of them. Do you want a place to feed your mind, body and soul? A place to unwind every day, where you can get your health and fitness goals attained? A secure place for your family? A center for quality academic goals for your kids? Or perhaps a place to connect with your friends? Well, you can get all this and more at Amani Ridge, the place of peace, just 20 kilometers from the CBD. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke.
Welcome to our big family. You see, in this family, we have fun together and we look out for each other because we care. We share whatever we have. We protect and support each other. Welcome home, where we love and care for each other. We're so excited that you're joining us.
Welcome to the new member of our Nivea family. New Nivea Petroleum Jelly Essence, enriched with glycerin for long-lasting moisture and protection.
Welcome back, and to that story that Mark was talking about that was actually trending on Twitter today. The osprey that flew thousands of miles from Finland to Kenya has died.
A post-mortem revealed that the migratory bird died from organ failure as a result of long-term starvation.
The bird of prey was trapped in a fishing net in Siaya last week and struggled to release itself. It was rescued by a local fisherman and transferred to the Raptor Rehabilitation Trust in Nairobi for treatment.
But efforts to rehabilitate it proved challenging as it was already severely dehydrated and emaciated from its long flight from Finland.
Well, ospreys migrate to Africa from Europe during the winter to feed.
And the footage you see there is courtesy of Shamason as they visited actually this particular spot with Smriti.
That's right, we did that on Friday, so that's just a little bit more because we actually saw that bird that was really shaken up, but unfortunately it just didn't make it.
And to something else that is still a topic of discussion online by many, sport fan, and you don't even have to really be a sport fan. He was a legend, Kobe Bryant.
Ida, tell us more.
It's been a hugely, indescribably sad day, Smriti and Mark. I mean, 5-time NBA champion. Lots of questions still surrounding why the helicopter was flying during horrible weather, you know, that a lot of flights were actually down at that time. So we will be looking at all that and much more in sports. That's coming up after the break.
Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Registration for January, May and September 2020 intakes is ongoing. Apply now. Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Growing reputation.
Kupika kila mtu ajipikie yake. Na vyombo za nani? Kwa nani?
Am I not getting some? Ice cream ya wageni. Wewe nitakuletea maji kwa jikoni.
A girl's gotta eat to keep up with you, Mr. Guns.
Well, that's absolutely correct.
This festive season, get a decoder with subscription at an unbelievable festive offer of only 1,499 shillings. You can also pay 1 month and enjoy 2 weeks free on a higher bouquet. For more information, call 0719 077 077.
Star Times. Enjoy digital life.
Did you know? As a leading African banking group, we have invested $50 million in technology to make your banking easier. Absa Group, serving Kenya as Barclays.
Molfix breathable surface developed with airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Mimi siku hizi nimekuwa mtu very honest kabisa. Honest indeed, si ndio? Ndio maana ulikuwa unanyemelea hapo ukitoka siku zako zimeisha. Sasa wewe na vile tulikuwa na amani na upendo ile wakati ulikuwa umeenda, umekuja kutufuruga.
We decided to invite Sasha to hang out with us.
Kazi yote ya mtoto ni yako. Ulishe mtoto, uoshe mtoto, umlalishe na ufue nguo zake zote.
Anti-bus.
Sport. NTV Sport in association with Mozart Bet. SMS NTV to 29990.
Well, the latest happening in the world of sport, and the world is mourning the passing of NBA legend Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 others who died in a plane crash in the city of Calabasas, California on Sunday. Now, longtime LA Lakers teammate Shaquille O'Neal mourned the 5-time NBA champion via his Twitter, as did many other past and current NBA stars. The football world saw, amongst many, Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi lead the way with tributes. Now, Bryant and Messi shot several advertisements for different corporates. Day 7 of the Australian Open saw Rafael Nadal and Nick Kyrgios pay tribute to the icon. World leaders, including former Presidents Obama and Clinton, also paid their odes to the sporting icon. 41-year-old Bryant and 13-year-old Gianna, I do beg your pardon, were headed to Kobe's Mamba Sports Academy, where Bryant was to coach Gianna's basketball team. Kobe leaves behind wife Vanessa and 3 daughters. May he rest in peace. Condolences to the Bryant family and all the families of those who perished. Now, you may have heard of or perhaps even seen horse racing action at the Ngong racecourse. Now, the sport has survived the ages, with the first race said to have been held in the early 1900s, but it's still viewed as belonging to a different caste in society. NTV's Ian Mugo enjoyed the first classic race card of the 2020 season and breaks down the enigma of horse racing in Kenya.
Sunday at the Ngong Racecourse, the country's only horse racing track, having replaced the Karioko Racecourse. It was once thought to solely be an aristocrat sport, but the narrative has shifted through the years. This is Duke Awa, winner of the Kenya Guineas, the first classic race of the 2020 season. Duke, bred in South Africa, is ridden by James Muhindi and trained by Joe Karari, once a jockey turned horse breeder.
We have prepared for this for about 1.5 months, preparing him for 1,600 meters. He has only done 1,800 meters, and we knew it's a bit shorter. And he's bred to stay. The horse himself is bred to stay.
Getting a champion involves a culmination of intensity, patience, and understanding of the horse.
I train horses at Nakuru. I've got more than 30 horses. I'm the biggest owner and the trainer in there. I employ more than 40 people at the stable.
The Kenya Horse Racing Championship, organized by the Jockey Club of Kenya and running from January to July, involves monthly race cards which cover different distances and feature horses of different ages and genders. The 2020 race card includes the Kenya Guineas, the GBA Fillies, the Kenya Derby, the Kenya Oaks, the Kenya St. Leger, and the JKC Stakes. Perhaps humorously, some of the races have taken on sporty Kenyan pet names. There is the 1200 meters Arika Maiden, the Wanyama Handicap, and the late Kenyan football legend Joe Kadenge wasn't left behind, with a race named after him as well. The horse racing industry, currently hit by betting taxation, hopes for a revival.
With the completion of the classic race card of the season, attention now shifts to the GBA Fillies, set for February 23rd next month. Ian Mugo, NTV.
Thanks for that, Ian. And 2020 is set to be a busy year for Kenyan sports. Between preparations for hosting different international events, relevant stakeholders are also looking ahead to the Tokyo Olympics in July. It will also mark 4 years since the Rio 2016 scandal that saw several sports administrators, including then Sports Minister Hassan Wario, charged with mismanagement of funds. Scandals which the current National Olympic Committee of Kenya management is quick to detach themselves from.
You all know that we went to election almost 2 years ago, and we have a new National Olympic Committee Executive Board. We are actually working so hard to make sure that with the time that we are having at our hands now for 2020 Olympics, we want to make sure that everything runs smoothly for our sportsmen. Regardless of all the other logistics we are working closely with the ministry to make sure that we will be able to have a very smooth outing for our country in 2020 Olympics.
Rugby now, where the national sevens team has landed a tough pool in the HSBC World Series Sydney Sevens leg, set to be played on the 1st and 2nd of February in Australia. The Shujas will face the World Rugby Sevens Series leaders and defending champions New Zealand, five-time record holders Fiji and Wales in Pool A. Paul Feeney's Chargers are ranked 10th in the World Rugby Sevens Series standings. Meanwhile, in matters local rugby, leaders Cabras Sugar and defending champions KCB stay in the Kenya Cup home semi-final berths after registering bonus point away wins. Third-placed Homeboys, who recorded their biggest ever win over Queens, beating them 48-3, are joined by Impala Saracens, Top Fry Nakuru and Menengai Oilers in the top 6 playoff positions. While Kakamega Homeboys leapt to the top of the Kenyan Premier League standings over the weekend with a 2-1 win over Kariobangi Sharks, the Buhungu-based side have accrued 39 points after 18 games, just 1 point more than defending champions Gor Mahia, who dismissed Bandari 3-0. Kogalo have an advantage, though, having played 2 games less. Meanwhile, Tusker blew a prime opportunity to jump into first, I do believe, when they were held 1-1 by Ulinzi at Ruaraka. On the other side of the table, Kisumu All Stars 2-0 loss to AFC Leopards exiled them further into the relegation zone, while Chemelil are inching closer to the big drop after a 1-1 draw with Sofapaka. The 4th round of the FA Cup continues with Arsenal playing Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium at 11 p.m. That's less than an hour away. The Gunners have won 8 of their previous 11 encounters against the Cherries. That's in all competitions, drawing 1